call the meeting to order, please. Start with the flag salute. Yeah. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. On the board, two of our student representatives up here. Welcome. And people in the audience, and the smoke is clearing, so that's nice. It's a nice, bright, sunny, beautiful day outside. But we're here for our August business meeting, and we have lots to cover here. But before we get into our agenda, we have a district highlight. Lieutenant McKay is going to take it and introduce a couple people. Kevin. Welcome. Well, welcome back to Selah. You know, all roads do lead back to Selah, so this is proof again, right? Well, that's absolutely wonderful, and we're glad that you're here and part of the Viking family again. Welcome, and we know that you'll do great things, and we're just so excited to have you in your new role. So thank you so much for coming in today. Really a pleasure to meet you. That's right. That's right. Go Vikes. Where's Colton when we need him? We need a Viking clap right now. Well, thanks for joining us. You're welcome to stay as long as you would like, but we certainly aren't offended if you had other things to do and needed. Good. All right, let's move on to public comment, and there are a couple others in the audience. This would be the opportunity to address the board if you had anything to say. Okay, we will move on then to our meeting minutes. Approval of meeting minutes from our July 27th business meeting and our August 15th study session / retreat. And so we've all had a chance to read those minutes, and so we need to approve those so they become a record in the district. Questions or comments from anybody? All right, we need a motion, I guess.
I'll move that we approve the meeting minutes from the July 27th meeting and the August 15th retreat.
Jamie, all right. Let's vote then. All those in favor, please indicate with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, under number 5 is a consent agenda. Several things here. Human resources action. Any comments to mention here, Chris?
Date on just the attrition and the hiring for the 23-24 school year. Always interesting to see the turnover that the district gets. We have we have about 12% of our staff turnover every year for a variety of reasons. They move away. They just, there's a lot of reasons why people move on, they retire and such. So this year to date, we have on our classified side of things, we have 8 retirements and 22 resignations. So a total of 30, and we have hired 29 classified positions. We are almost staffed up on our classified. We have about 8 or 9 positions left to fill, but we're doing really well with that. The principals and directors have done a really nice job staying up on the hiring process. On the certified side of things, we have 6 retirements and we have 28 resignations, so 34 in total. New hires, 37 with the high poverty funds and other funds that we've gained. So we had more hires than people leaving, but we're all staffed up on our certified side of things and we're excited about that. Also, I wanted to, on the actual HR action tonight, I don't have anything to add on the detail of it, but things are moving. We're getting ready. Monday's coming before we know it, and I think we're going to be ready. So it's good.
I guess one would say it's good to be fully staffed 3 days before school starts.
Yes, it is.
Can I ask a question, Chris?
Uh-huh.
So I noticed in the classified appointments, like with our paraprofessionals, for example, that there are several that are marked as temporary. Is that a very short term, like 3 months, or?
A lot of times, good question. Temporary can be anywhere from 6 months to a year. And a lot of times the temporary paraprofessionals that come through the board agenda at this time of year are temporaries that we've hired for the year, either temps for leave replacement contracts or temporary funding or temporary, just temporary need in certain departments. So these top ones here are for Robert Lentz Elementary School, and we had offered them some temporary hours to help staff for the duties and such around their campus. They had some other needs as well. So those are actually temporary. So what that means is those contracts awarded to those people are just 1 year only contracts. And then at the end of the year, we give them notice that their position no longer exists, but then they have the opportunity to put in for other positions as they open up.
Yes, then speaks to the idea of not overextending resources then to positions that are not sustainable.
Correct.
Good, thank you. Any other? Okay, next up is the payroll goods and services.
So you will see in the reports tonight, there's a few things that pertains to maintenance of our facilities. For instance, BJ Paint and Carpet. There's expense there on the first page of the warrants for 570,000 is the total for the whole report. 21,000 from BJ Paint and Carpet. And we had a lot of interior and exterior paint projects this summer. Every year, Frank does a really nice job identifying projects that we need to do. One, for example, is at Selah Intermediate School. The doors, the exterior doors on the facility just were not looking very good. They were very dull. And if you drive by up there, take a look at the doors. They just look outstanding all the way around to the portables. So that would be an example. They've been doing a lot of other paint projects around the district. We always do work at the high school. We take a certain number of classrooms and we do paint and carpet to keep up on that rotation. The next rotation that's starting this next year is at SIS. So SIS will be rotating through there to get their paint and carpet updated as well. So we can keep our facilities nice for long term. So another highlight, I asked Alicia if she wanted to share on the Kendall Hunt purchase on the curriculum adoption. And so she was just going to touch upon that this evening as well. Oh, sorry, Mike.
Gotta be able to hear me. Good evening. So with our Kendall Hunt, that is the curriculum that we use K-8 for our mathematics. So what was included in this purchase is we had some teacher additions and manipulative kits that are like a one-time purchase that we did because we had some teachers that were at SIS that went from being a specialist to a generalist model. So then we needed to get the curriculum that they needed each. We also do 1st through 5th grade, and then in 7th grade, they use consumable student editions. And so it's an annual cost that we have. The nice thing about Kendall Hunt is everything was online. So we really didn't have to do a huge purchase when we went to this adoption. It's an annual purchase that we do with the student consumables. So, with other ones, we spent $200,000 to $300,000 initially. This one, we're spending it over multiple years.
So this isn't really not a new curriculum. It's an update and additional materials to convert those generalist teachers to the general.
Correct. Yeah. So it was to make sure that every teacher had their set that they needed. Because we had purchased for the K-5 program, we had purchased that 3 years ago. So it was the first year I was here. We had done that purchase. Middle school had been a couple of years before that. So as we've had new teachers, because they've had to expand the number of sections or they switched what they were teaching, then we needed to purchase that. And then the student additions, though, is an annual cost.
Okay, any others, Chris?
That's it.
Okay, good, thank you. And then also in the consent agenda are some policies. The first group is a first reading. As everyone knows, the first reading is the first step in adoption of a policy that we'll see these again in a month. And so there's several first reading policies. I don't know, Kevin, if you want to give us a summary of these or.
I sure can. So you will see, there is some revisions to multiple policies. There are some differences though that I want to point out to you. Policy 6600 with regards to transportation, that was an internal inter-district revision that you're seeing. That one had to do with going through the safe walks or routes to school. We realized that we needed to change some things within the wording of the policy. And so we're asking for a revision of that. An example would be in that one, it deletes the word radius and adds the word walk zone. And then deletes the beginning of the school year and adds by October 31st. So that one is an internal request for revision. The second one under policy 3432 emergencies, this is also an internal one. This is work done by our director of safety. And we determined through his review of that is that we did not have identified the term or title of secure and teach and a definition tied to it. And so that the revision coming to you for your consideration is to add that into that. The other four that are before you tonight in first reading are ones that come to you and the district by WASDA. Again, your state association who also provides us all of the policies for consideration. And these are 4 policies that have revisions to them. And so any of them, I've vetted all of them. Jennifer and I have spent considerable amount of time going over all these. We don't see anything that would concern us, but as a first reading, they come to you for your review as well. If you have any questions on any of those or you want more information on any of them, please don't hesitate to reach out and we can provide that to you. The second set of policies you have, which is for second reading this evening, and if approved, adoption, are a combination of policies that were reviewed in first reading in the month of June. And then the month of July, we also added policy 6700, nutrition, health, and physical fitness. So the ones that were provided in June, we just had a little break in July and added another one. And now we're bringing all of the June and July to you for second reading and adoption. Any questions about any of those? Okay, thank you.
I'd like to just thank Joe for spotting the gap there in the one policy, and it's great to see that he's grabbed onto that position and I guess I'd just like to say and kind of piggyback off what you said, Kevin. You know, sometimes I think people think we sort of just run right through these policies and approve them, and we don't usually have a ton of dialogue about policies. But what gives me confidence, and I hope everybody else, is that, you know, most of the time policies come through WASDA, as was mentioned. And, you know, that's our state agency that we rely heavily on to bring us policies and wording and verbiage. And they have already analyzed it and gone through it and used their expertise and their legal staff and all of the people that are in the trenches and are very knowledgeable about that before we ever get them. And we're all part of policy news. And so we have a great deal of trust there. So unless there's something that's so far out of the park that wouldn't fit Selah at all, the WASDA created policy.
And they come to us with kind of a title for each of them as what they view as importance. And so you've got essential and recommended And, then they'll actually say if it's a brand new policy, or it's a revision of the policy. They do a fairly good job of not only giving you the policy, but identifying the changes if it's a revision, and then all the background information with regards to each individual policy comes to us as well with policy news.
Questions by anybody on the consent agenda? All right, I'll move that we approve the consent agenda and all the items listed under it. So, last chance for comments. Okay, we'll vote. All those in favor indicate with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, item number 6 is administration. So first up is resolution 2023-20, which is the adoption of the 23-24 budget. And as a reminder, everybody, last month we had a hearing, and Chris and Stephanie and Kevin brought presentation, and we had a lengthy discussion about that. And at that point, we decided to table it so that we could ask more questions and learn more about it. We had a follow-up meeting in August on the 15th at our retreat. Good additional dialogue and addendum and additional information brought by Chris, which we're very, very grateful for. And so before us tonight is the same resolution with updated figures and numbers. And this is the resolution that we need to approve so that Chris can turn it into the state and we can be in compliance with the regulations there. But before we do that, we have a chance to ask questions and comments about it. Take the vote. Okay, hearing none, we will need a motion then for the resolution.
I'll move that we adopt resolution 2023-20, adoption of the 23-24 budget.
Thank you, Sarah. Any other last minute questions from anybody? All right, we'll vote. All those in favor of approving this resolution indicate with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that passes. So we just adopted this budget, everybody, and I guess just as a reminder to say once again, after our great dialogue on the 15th, that our expectations now will be with this adopted budget that we would make progress and move towards a more balanced budget, aligning resources and revenue with staffing for the 24-25 school year. That was part of our discussion, and we just wanted to.
Just to remind you, as we spoke at the retreat, we will be bringing back a framework for that review back to the next business meeting. And we will have a timeline when we will report back to the school board and what things we'll be reviewing and when. And the full cabinet will be involved in that process, and we'll work with the directors and principals and such on each of those areas. So we will have a definite plan. We have thoughts right now, but it'll be on paper.
And we appreciate the extra work that went into preparing. Okay, that takes care of that one. And then the next one is resolution 2023-21, final acceptance of the construction and completion of John Campus. So this is a common thing that we get that's come before us at the completion of all of our building projects. This is the formal completion of that project. Know that before it ever reaches the boardroom here, that it has been vetted and looked at by everybody that's in the channel, including the architect and the construction management company and the contractor and Chris and everybody else on her team. And so before it comes to us, everybody has signed off on it. So this is the formality that completes the project. Did I state that correctly?
That's correct.
So that's a yay in my book.
Yes, we're excited to bring this resolution to you tonight. We worked with Brent Harding, and Don Kirby. Remember Don Kirby, Construction Management. He is, between the two of them, are helping us get all the pieces together to file the D11. So it'll be officially closed out, but this is required as part of the D11 process.
No questions by anybody?
So anticlimactic for what it was. I mean, here we are. Yeah, it's done.
Done?
Yeah, should be like some horn going off or something, right?
You want to like run around the podium or anything?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful building and
It is.
you as a board and our community should be very proud of what it turned out to be. So
It's the pride of the community. I mean, shoot, it's right down Main Street. It's a gorgeous campus. We preserved the big tree. It's very functional. I think everybody that's in the building likes the layout and likes the functionality of it. Yeah, it turned out very, very well.
Yep.
Well, I'll move that we approve the resolution for final acceptance on that construction of the ACP. We'll vote. All those in favor indicate with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Cross that one off. We are up to number 7, which is a student board representative report. If you have anything to share with us, it's summer. We know your brains are kind of on vacation and all of that, but we'd love to hear from you.
Okay, hi guys. I would just like to share that ASB at the high school has been in full swing, and it's been great to be a part of that this year. And to this morning we spoke to the high school staff about our mission statement and kind of our motto for the year, and it was really cool to talk to them and kind of continue to build that link between our ASB and our staff. And so I'm excited for this year and to be a part of that. So.
So just, what was it? Just a few weeks ago, probably not even that. I got the opportunity to sit down with a couple different people on the board and chat about some of the upcoming work that we'll be doing with the next year's student representatives. And I don't know, I had a lot of fun at that meeting. It was really good. We got to talk about a presentation and some updated, what would you call that, policy? Yeah, for the next year's board reps. So that was really cool.
We were really excited to have you. Gave us a student perspective that, we might not have thought of. And so hopefully we captured what we thought and great plan going forward. Some work to do, but with your help, we get there.
if I could just add on a few things with regards to the junior student reps, just a little update. We are in the midst of the application window, and as of the last time I talked to Heidi earlier this afternoon, we had 6 applicants. Okay. That window will continue through September 1st. And so I would expect there may be even a few more. Looks like there should be no need to extend the application window. So our plans to do interviews will continue to be on the September study session on the 14th. Our goal would then be between the 14th and the 28th to do the onboarding work that you guys have worked on and spoke about, and then to do the formal seating of the 2 new junior student reps at the September 28th board meeting. So.
Audience perspective, our goal here is to seat 4 student representatives on our board to bring student voice to the boardroom, to represent the student body at all grade levels. And so Lisa and Indy were junior representatives. They're moving now into the senior class position, and we're recruiting now and taking applications for 2 junior representatives. And then the process that was just described will take place in September. So by the end of September, we'll have our 4 again for this upcoming school year, and we're delighted that we're expanding and continuing to work on student voice. So that you guys are at home, the seniors, and all right. Good. Move on to number 8, our Executive Director of Student Learning. This is Jacob.
Yes, thank you. So just a quick share, I want to let you know what we've been doing this month. So we started off early August meeting with our leadership team and listening to what we heard not only from students and from staff last year. We decided that our focus this year needed to be student voice and the different ways that we could get student voice to be heard no matter what the age. So thinking preschool all the way up to high school, as well as how do we ensure that we have instructional strategies and an instructional framework that's going to have students reaching high standards across the board as well. So we started the work with our principals and really tried to model what those kind of instructional strategies could look like to provide voice and different ways you could do it, whether you're working with a preschooler or you're working with a 12th grader. And it was really exciting to see that over the last 3 days, we saw the principals modeling those same behaviors and instructional strategies with their staff. Throughout all 5 buildings, voice was something that was coming up, and how do we encourage? And we're focusing on the classroom because we know that's one where every teacher, every staff member can impact our students is in the classroom. We're also focusing at the high school, starting with some opportunities for them to have additional voice, but we're working kind of our way down. And so our focus will be classroom. So what are instructional strategies that can allow for voice, and not only just voice, but equity of voice. So really being cognizant of the amount of time people are talking and ensuring that there's opportunities for everyone to speak and it's not monopolized by a single student or a single adult in the case of the last 3 days. So it was exciting to see the modeling, seeing teachers experience what we want students to be able to experience too. And I heard back from all of the teams and really good feedback. That's one thing that we've asked all of our principals to do, is if any of their professional learning, we model it as well as we get feedback from the participants on what resonated, what are ways that we can improve, what are things that you still have questions on. And all of them got great feedback from their teams that they were energized and actually glad each day to come back. And sometimes that's a hard thing when you want to be in your classroom and just get ready for school, to see the value and the time as a team together. So really proud of the team and just seeing everybody working to ensure we can have a great year for our students. Yeah.
Okay, move on then now to our associate superintendent, district operations, Ms. Stemko.
All right, I just have a couple things. First and foremost, the Transportation Cooperative Facility, just a progress update on that. We are very excited. This week, the furniture was delivered and assembled and placed, and it looks great. The team is getting it, a lot of the shop equipment and things have been being delivered here the last month or so, but we are looking at getting temporary occupancy next week. And hopefully in the next 10 days, getting permanent occupancy. So we're looking at a move-in date, at least for the shop, and hopefully the whole team on next Friday on the non-school day. So we're excited about that. And the team over there is really excited to get into the new facility. So appreciate that. And it's looking really good. So we'll schedule another time for the board to walk through once it's complete, and we can go from there on that. But
The back ordered panels came in and they're in place and all good to go.
everything's coming along. Yeah, so it's good. All right, so the financial status update for July. So you can see here, this is the second to last update for the school year 22-23. We're 91.67% through the year, to be exact. And we've received 87.1% of our budgeted revenues and spent 86.5% of our budgeted appropriations. We still have our accrual process that we need to go through in September, which means any goods or services that were received by August 31, even though invoicing comes in September, we accrue those expenses back to the prior year. And also we look at our revenue process as well. So those revenue and expenditure accruals will happen in September. And we likely have an accrual run for our CAP projects fund in October as well. We'll officially close the books in October and hit our end of the October deadline. It's 25th to get that year-end report submitted to OSPI. And as we normally do, I'll come back to the board and present a year-end report at the December business meeting. It works best to wait until December so we have all the pieces, parts and pieces in place. So it's been kind of traditional to present that at the December meeting. Other funds are, so basically bottom line, our ending fund balance cash reserve at the end of July is 10.4 million. We're looking anywhere from 10.5 million to 11 million probably is our ending fund balance, depending on the accruals, which is right where we were targeting when we presented the budget to you. So we'll see how that ends up, but it's looking good so far. And then the other funds are pretty much on target. Your ASB is pretty typical for any given year. Debt service fund, we've paid all of our debt service payments for this school year. Our next payments will come due in December. Transportation vehicle, we did take possession of our new bus that we purchased, and that bill is being processed in August. We just paid that 200 and some $1,000, or we will on August 31. So we have that bus in hand. We still are waiting on 2 buses to be delivered, and then we'll pay the bill on those. And as a reminder, we pay for all of our buses out of the transportation vehicle fund. Those expenses don't come from our operating fund. And the revenues for transportation vehicle come from depreciation payments on the buses. So that's that. And CAP projects, like I mentioned with Transportation Cooperative, that's really the main project we have going on right now. As of August, we've spent about $8.4 million on that project. We're getting very close. We've only received about $1 million in state match. So we're still looking at receiving about $3 million more in state match. As far as I can tell at this point in time, we're going to have anywhere from 2.5 to $3 million left in the fund above and beyond the Wilbur rep contribution. So that's what I can see at this point in projecting costs out and revenues. So I think that'll leave us in a good position to plan for the future and figure out what's next. So
Remind us again on the transportation co-op project. The money came from excess fund.
yes,
Large portion of it, and then state match, a big portion of it. and
Yep.
then The district kicked in from beyond that.
correct. And the fortunate part about this, we've talked about it a few times, is we are receiving $4 million out of the $9.4 million projected cost from the state in state matching funds, because we have established a cooperative facility. We will partner with Union Gap School District, and we will maintain their buses. We won't supervise their crew or employ any other drivers, but we will maintain their buses and any motor pool vehicles that they have for a minimum of 10 years. And it will be basically a break-even operation. We're not looking to make a whole bunch of money, but they're gonna pay for the labor and parts and such for their buses for us to do it. But by making it a cooperative facility, gave us the eligibility to access the 4 million in state match. So it's a wonderful thing. And you had the public hearing to get public comment about the use of the unused state match money from the other 2 projects. So that worked as well. So now we're using some non-bond funds to finish it out.
And at the end of the day, we get a long overdue updated transportation system.
Yes. Which is long overdue is correct.
Long overdue, and also identified within the district's long-range facility plan years ago. That was a project that was identified with the possibility of figuring a way to make that happen. So it is, as we start to transition from ending current projects with JCP now officially and eventually here, the transportation facility, really it now allows us to check another box off there, take that off the list and direct our attention on facilities that really need help as well. So having one more off the list is a very, very positive thing.
May I ask, anybody else have questions before I ask? I keep going, I'm sorry. Back to the financial report. Does it bother you or worry you that we're 91% through our school year, yet we're $8 million short on the revenue, and I see a bunch of it is from the federal level and state level. So maybe 2 buckets there. Federal, other, and then, yeah. There any concern?
Not so much. We still have some ESSER funds that we need to claim along with other federal grants. And we'll probably receive around $6 million in apportionment, which I thought I was going to get that apportionment report today, but I didn't. I might go out. But so I don't have any concerns with that. We do put some extra capacity in on the revenue and expenditure side to create that, but it balances it out on the main capacity that we put in. So we may come in under the 62.5 or 6 million, but it'll be offset on the expenditure side.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mhm.
Right, any other comments? Anything else, Chris? You good? Okay, thank you to both Alicia and Chris for that. We'll move on to Superintendent McKay.
So I will echo what was said earlier about the buildings and the departments being ready to go for the first day. We've seen no indications that they won't be. All departments in support of the district and the buildings are ready to go. We've seen evidence of the transportation daily, if not hourly, adjustments to bus routes going on to try to support the students as they begin to register and then get them to a bus route and a stop. Our child nutrition staff was here today in this very room preparing all the work in regards to implementing breakfast after the bell is in place. The results of the hard work of all those who spent the long hot summers working inside the buildings and outside the buildings is all paid off. They do have a little bit of cleanup as our students begin to come back to the campuses, especially the high school. We start to begin to have to clean up the exterior. And the high school parking lot's a popular place to hang out. We've noticed, and you guys know that as well. And nightly there is some leftover trash of whatever it may be. Usually Taco Bell and 7-Eleven type of things, some McDonald's thrown in there. But again, we are ready to go. We have had lots of interactions with all of us as adults, employees, and it's really time for our students to return and get involved with them. A reminder that we do have a staggered type of start for our youngest learners. Those learners who are in Robert Lintz and at JCP is that although the rest of the grade levels are starting on Monday, they have a staggered approach. I feel it's extremely important to have individual parent meetings, and so that the transition is a good one for them. And so you will see some staggering with that. And our last group of students, our preschool students, will be the ones who will start last, and that will be after the holiday. But that's a typical normal type of a thing. I am very thankful that the welcome back event came off as well as we had hoped for. Very positive. The people conversation and their energy, and then adding student voice into that with our middle school students, high school students, and then UIndy to top it all off was a really a great thing, and have heard so many positive comments about that. And as well as it was nice and short. So I think people appreciate that as well. So we'll check that off the box and thank that. I do want to publicly thank the students who participated in Indy. Getting in front of that many people and knowing that in some cases you're going to interact with them throughout the school year is kind of a different experience for them. But I know it will pay off for them as they got public speaking opportunities in front of a large audience. I also want to make sure that in our business meeting tonight that I do mention that two very important community outreach opportunities that the school district is going to provide. You know that one of our areas of focus for this year is to ensure that our schools are safe, and we think we've got some responsibility to do a better job of communicating out all the things that go into our safety responsibilities. And so on the 13th of September at 6 o'clock in the VPAC at the middle school, we will be providing a school safety community forum for parents, community members, employees, students, anybody who wants to come to learn more about what the district is doing with regards to school safety, and then to get input on how we're going to move forward and get better. So that'll be on Wednesday, the 13th. The following week, the following Wednesday on the 20th is we will start our work, which I just mentioned a little bit ago about our long range plan for facilities. And so that will be 6 p.m. right here in the boardroom. We had last spring, prior to the end of the school, right at the end of the school year, we had a community collaboration on the long range planning for facilities. This will now be step number 2 as we start to gather people. And our goal would be to eventually form a committee of people that would work together to determine what the plan is going to be. And at some point in time next year is to bring that to the board, and then the board to consider, and then take whatever action is needed at that time based on what the community is coming to you with. So those two things will start in September. I do see those as important points, and I also mention them because they both have the opportunity to be areas where our community can play a great part of both of those discussions and plans. And that is it. Thank you.
Question about the community outreach. If oftentimes board members like to attend those, do we need to coordinate that so there's not too many of us in the room so we don't violate any public meeting laws?
You know, there's lots of difference of opinion on that. And I think the thing that you would want to do is if you're going to be there as a quorum of the board, is that you don't give the appearance as if you're acting as the board at that night. You wouldn't be leading anything. You wouldn't be taking any action. There wouldn't be an agenda from you. You'd be really coming as a board member, but more so probably as a public citizen to support what's going on. If one of you or two of you are there and it is not a quorum, it's a little bit different in that you can be in the capacity of a board member, but you wouldn't still have the ability to take any action because you don't have a quorum there. There's no agenda there. So that's really the difference. You all can show if you want to, but you really should stay away from giving the appearance that this is a board type of activity and or a meeting or agenda.
Good, thank you, Kevin. Yeah, that brings us to board communications. So the floor is open for anybody that would like to hear from the board. I just want to piggyback what Kevin and Chris both said. The welcome back event was fabulous. And you could feel the energy, you could feel the passion, you could feel the excitement in the room. It's just so great to see staff come back so energized. And, you know, they were hugging each other and talking up each other and high-fiving and having fun, and then they were paying attention and they were clapping and applauding and acknowledging those that were being recognized, et cetera. And the buzz was very, very apparent there. And I also talked to Frank about this. I said, man, the grounds look great. And I've been in most of the buildings in the last week or so. The buildings look good. The grounds look great. He said, yeah, but we've had dirty water all summer and we can't keep the filters clean. I said, Frank, you're being hard on yourself. They look great. And so he's of course very prideful of that. And you know, from my perspective, I'm just appreciative of all the work that everybody does to get ready for the first pitch. It's a monumental milestone in a student's life every year. With 3 of my grandkids who are all excited for Monday, and yeah, I got all my clothes laid out. I know what I'm going to do. I know I get your schedule. Yeah, I got my schedule. I got the teachers I wanted. I'm good to go. I said, what lunch do you have? Oh, I have the last lunch, which is they're just pumped about it, you know, and they can hardly sit still, but they're so excited about school. And I think we need to remember that. Students, you know, they say, I got to go to school. Got to do my homework, whatever. But at the end of the day, there's a spring in their step when they walk in the door, and they love school. And it's up to us to make sure that they have a great experience, and we all work hard. Thank you publicly to not only people in this room, but also to faculty and staff. All right, any others? With that, this might be record. Huh? We're done. Huh? August meeting, huh? How'd we do? I don't think we cut corners on anything, did we? All right. Well, if there's no other business, meeting is now adjourned.